Welcome. This is the beginning of how to make a pant skirt pattern, and then I'll do another video on how to construct the pant skirt. With the pant skirt pattern, it's very easy. You need, I don't know, maybe 3 measurements, 4 measurements, somewhere in there. The most important is going to be the hip measurement. So you'll take your hip measurement at the fullest part of the hip, okay, the fullest part of the hip, and then you're going to write that down, whatever that measurement is. Your next measurement is your side seam. Bend over, please. Okay, go back up. So from your waist on down to where you want your pant skirt to end, that's your side seam measurement or your pant length or your out seam. So you write that measurement down. And then wherever it was, the fullest part of the hip, wherever that was, so hers is about right here. I want to take the measurement from, bend to the side again. Okay. From where her waist was down to the fullest part. So whatever measurement that is, I want my yoke to be there. That long, excuse me. I want my yoke to be that long. So you're going to take that measurement, whatever that measurement is. And those are the 3 measurements that you need. Okay, so we took the measurements that we needed to make the pant skirt pattern, and now we're going to actually draft the pattern onto whatever you have. I use pattern paper. I get it from Vogue Fabrics, but certainly you don't need this because it is a little pricey, but I just use it because I make a lot of patterns. You can use tissue paper that you've taped together. You can use newspaper. You can use an old sheet. You can use old fabric. Whatever it is that you want to write on will work. One thing I may caution you on is don't use fabric that's stretchy or something that's really old, because it has a tendency to kind of get misshapen. So you want something that's pretty stable. Interfacing, you can use interfacing. You can use the dot paper that's in the interfacing or something like that. Whatever whatever you want to use is pretty much fine. Okay, so once we have the measurements, you wanted that Sister Cynthia posted in our group a little sheet on how to draft the pattern, so use that. And once you have your measurements, my side length total is 42. So remember, the pant skirt comes in 2 pieces. You have the top piece, which is the yoke, and then you have the bottom skirt piece. So I'm going to draft the skirt bottom first. So how I draft mine is I take my total side length, which is 42. I subtract the yoke, which I like my yoke to be 10. Yours can be 7, 8, 9, 10. It's where, you know, the depth to the fullest part of your hip. So 42 minus 10, and then I'm going to add 2 inches, which is 1.5 inches for the hem and then 1/2 inch for the seam allowance. So the total measurement that I need for my skirt is 34. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a mark down here. Well, I already have a line kind of drawn on this. So I'm going to just mark this. I'm just going to go across. This is just like my marker. So from here, I'm going to, where's my tape measure? Oh, okay. So from here, I'm going to measure 34 inches. There's 34. And then what I'll do is I'm going to make sure these are at right angles also. You want it directly perpendicular to the fold. I'm going to mark this right now. This is going to be the fold of the fabric. I mean the fold. You place that on the fold. We all know that universal symbol. So this is 34. I'm going to keep going out here. Sister Faith, I'm doing a video. Ma'am, thank you. That's my daughter watching TV. Okay, so this is a right angle here. This is a right angle here. And what this top is, you don't have to do this, but I will. I'm going to put in the seam allowance, you know, with those little dashed lines. So we know this is the top. This is a 1/2 inch, because that's what I want for my seam allowance. Just going to put that a little bit down. Okay, so you might want to write in there 1/2 inch seam allowance. And this is the top. Okay, so then now we're going to measure out how far or wide that the pant skirt needs to be. That's going to be your hip measurement, okay? I put in 2 inches of ease. Sister Cynthia has been successful in not using ease, so you kind of figure out what works for you. So it's the hip measurement. Mine is too big, it's 42. Then I want 2 inches of ease, so now that's 44. And then I'm going to divide that in 2 because I have 2 pant legs. So 42, 44, so that's 22. And then I add a 1/2 inch. So I need 22.5 inches across. So I'm going to measure 22.5. Faith, can you turn on that fan, please, ma'am? Thank you. Okay? And so from this point, now, just like she has on her, on the sheet that she has posted on the page, you want to go down 5 over 3. You might want to go down 5 over 5. That's good, son. It kind of depends on your body shape, okay? If you are well endowed in the back, you might want to go down 5 and over 5. I go down 5 and over 3. So this is I want this at a right angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stop here. And I'm going to go down 5 inches. And then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3. 3 inches. Remember, that's a right angle. That's a right angle. Okay. Okay. So, okay, we went down 5 and over 3. Now I'm going to go mark at the hem over that same amount. It was, I believe, 22.5. Okay, 22.5, so I'm going to go over 22.5 and make that same line. And the reason why is because you want your skirt to fall straight down from the yoke. And that's how skirts are supposed to fall, from the hip level. Because when you're drafting patterns and making patterns, let's say one hip is higher than the other, or fuller in the front than in the back, or whatever. You do all that adjustment in the yoke. And then from the hip level down, it should fall straight. And so this is the same point. I want the same square. It should be an exact rectangle. From the fullest part of my hip, it should be an exact square all the way down to the hem. So this is that mark for me. But if you notice, if I were to go straight up, we have this crotch piece here that's out. But when we do pants patterns, the crotch always curves in, right? You go from the crotch and then it curves back in, and that's what we'll do here. And so if you don't have these tools, like a hip curve or something like that, which will kind of guide you on where to go, you can just kind of eyeball it. And maybe if you had a yardstick, something like that. Just, and you can kind of just, you know, you can see. And then use a ruler. I'm going to use this because I want to use my hip curve. And then you can kind of see it going, where you're going. Okay, this is your inseam. Now you want to do your crotch curve. So you take your French curve, mark your line, but maybe we don't have it, so just, or if you have some pants that you like, that you make, a pant pattern, and see, that's pretty, you know, spot on. It's not exact, but it'll work. And if you had a larger derriere, let's say, I know y'all gonna laugh at me talking about some derriere. Okay, that's where I'm gonna cut. But let's say it is larger. You might want to go the 5 down and 5 over and end up about right here because you're gonna need more room. So know your body, experiment a little bit, and see how it works for you. Okay. Another thing you want to do is we're going to take this point right here, and it's good to know where your patterns are in relationship to your body. But this point right here is actually the point right here in the center of the crotch where everything meets. And so you don't want the inseam to be longer or even close to, you know, being able to be shown from the front of the skirt. So like, let's say this is the front of the skirt. Let's say this is the front of the skirt. And then you don't want it to show from underneath. So what you're going to do is take a 1/2 inch off, okay? And then just blend that back to the original stitching. So you're going to take this 1/2 inch off. Don't forget to put your seam allowance if you want to, but it makes it look like a pattern for real. Because that's what you're doing, drafting a pattern. Okay, and then this is my crotch. I'm going to do this here. It doesn't show very well. Okay, the other thing on this would be the hem. Our hem is 1.5 inches. My hem is 1.5 inches. Whatever your hem is, you know, that's your choice. So I'm going to put in here a line of where my hem is. And you want to get up on this side. Then once you put that line where your hem is going to be, you fold it up. And you're actually going to, if I had cut all the way down first, then you see when my hem is folded, this is where it would be cut, and it's gonna, and this is where the actual skirt is gonna end. So it's gonna be this much distance times 2, almost this much from here to here, which is like a thumb length, and that's how much short the inside of your hem is gonna be when trying to hem your garment. So that's why it always bunches up right there at the seam, the inseam, when we're trying to stitch hems. So what you'll do is follow that line, follow the line of the skirt on that side, and then when you unfold it, you'll see that it actually goes out, okay? And on pants and things, you'll see it goes like this, and then it goes out some. And the reason for that is when you actually hem your pants, it's going to be the same circumference as your skirt. So make sure you cut on that line like that, okay? And this is the hem, so you'll put hem here, 1.5 inches, and always write on your pattern what it is, because from time to time, if you don't use it a lot, you won't know. Did I make this a 1/2 inch hem, a 3/4 inch hem, an inch hem, 1.25 inch, and the seam allowances as well. Okay, the only part left is the yoke. So the measurements for your yoke are whatever you wanted it to be, 10 inches, 9 inches, 8 inches, plus the 2 inches. That means your finished yoke plus 1.5 inches to turn down for the elastic, and the 1/2 inch to connect the yoke to the pant skirt. And all it is a rectangle. I remember mine was 22.5, I think. 22.5. Okay, so this is what it is. You're going to still perpendicular or 90 degrees to the edge, because this is going to be a fold for the yoke also. You're going to draw a line, and it's going to be about this, definitely the same. It's going to be the same width as this. I bet you that's 22.5 right there. 22.5. And then I'm going to go up a total of a 1/2 inch here for my seam allowance, 10 more inches, and then 1.5 inches. So that's a total of 12 inches. 12 inches. And I want this to be square. 90 degrees. Okay. And I'm just going to go back down. Make sure that I'm straight. Yep, 22 and a half. So to finish that off, now this is your yoke. There's an inch and a half up here to turn down for the elastic, a half an inch down here to sew to this. You're going to sew one of these on the fold. This is a seam allowance, that's a half inch. You cut two of these on the fold because of course you need two pant legs. And there you have it. That's the how to draft a pant skirt pattern. And so you'll cut this out, and then what I'm going to do is do another video actually cutting a pant skirt out and constructing it and how to do that little crossover of our skirt. So I hope this helps. I know it helps sometimes to have a little bit of mass to the instructions that we see. We're on our way, sisters. We got the world to clothe, and all these women and men in it. So good luck with drafting. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up on Facebook.